Good morning, everybody, from downtown Nicosia, Cyprus. It is 9:15 on this Wednesday morning, and I thought we would do a quick video update on the news that went down yesterday. And we had some big stories. The first one was the gas being shut off to Poland, and not only Poland, to Bulgaria as well. So this was a really strange story, the way this unfolded. So like yesterday afternoon my time here in Europe, you had this news story coming out of a Polish publication, which said that gas going through the Yamal pipeline to Poland had been shut off. No more gas for Poland. And about an hour to 2 hours later, Gazprom came out with a statement, and they said this is not true. We refute the claims that this Polish publication is making. Gas has not been shut off to Poland. And it seemed like that was that. And, the Gazprom statement was pretty clear. We haven't shut off the gas to Poland. And then a couple of hours after Gazprom made that statement, we get these statements coming out of Reuters. The Energy Ministry of Bulgaria reported that Gazprom informed Bulgargas about the suspension of gas supplies starting April 27th. And then we get this statement. The Polish oil and gas company PGNiG received a notification from Gazprom that from the morning of April 27th, the supply of Russian natural gas will be completely stopped. So we get two notifications sent to the Bulgarian gas company and the Polish gas company saying that on Wednesday, today, the 27th, gas supplies will be stopped. And so I guess Gazprom, technically, when they refuted the Polish media claim that gas had been stopped on the 26th, I guess technically they were correct. Gas was still flowing on the 26th. What Gazprom forgot to mention in their statement was that the next day, on the 27th, we are going to stop gas supplies to Poland and to Bulgaria. So it would have been good if Gazprom had mentioned that in their statement yesterday. But anyway, maybe Gazprom is trolling the EU, Poland and Bulgaria. We'll see. But look, Poland gets around 55% of their gas needs from Russia. Bulgaria, from the Yamal pipeline, Bulgaria gets 90% from, I believe it's the Turk Stream pipeline from Russia. So for Bulgaria, this is going to be devastating. For Poland, it's going to be devastating, even though the energy climate minister, Anna Moskva is her name. What an interesting name. Anna Moskva. That's something. But I think I'm pronouncing her last name right. But wow. She came out with a statement and she said everything is okay. I'll read you her statement in a bit. She said, "Don't panic. This is the Polish climate and energy minister." But the collective mainstream media, they're kind of positioning this as Russian retribution. Ukraine came out with a statement and said, this is Russia's energy blackmail. Their energy blackmail is beginning. But, look, given the fact that Poland has kind of taken the lead in escalating this conflict, in supporting the Zelensky regime, in calling for a full embargo on Russian energy and commodities and products, in calling for NATO intervention in the war, in calling for more weapons into Ukraine. I mean, Poland has definitely, along with the United States, they've taken perhaps the most hawkish stance with regards to this conflict in Ukraine, and they want to escalate really bad. Given all of that, given Poland's stance, you could see that Russia would probably say, you know what, you're kind of a party to the war, Poland. You're definitely a party to this conflict, so we're gonna shut your gas off. And that would be probably a logical step for Russia, given the fact that they're involved in a conflict right now with Ukraine. But I don't think that's why Russia decided to take this move with Poland. Just the other day, Poland sanctioned like 50 Russian entities in Poland, and they expelled a bunch of diplomats. So look, it would be understandable if Russia said, we're engaged in a war with Ukraine. We're in a conflict in Ukraine, and Poland is openly taking the side of Zelensky and Ukraine, and we're going to take retaliatory action against Poland, and we're going to cut off the gas. But I think the reason that Russia is cutting off the gas to Poland, and to Bulgaria for that matter, is because they're simply not abiding by the policy that the Kremlin put forth 4 weeks ago, and that is the gas for rubles policy. I think this has to do, plain and simple, with the fact that Poland has come out on multiple occasions and they've said, we are not going to purchase gas from Russia in accordance with the gas for rubles policy, payment structure. And to this day, they've refused to do it. Most every other EU country is quietly going along with this payment scheme. I talked about this in a video a couple of days ago, that even the European Commission said, you know what, it's okay if we pay for our gas in accordance with the Russian gas for ruble scheme. It doesn't violate sanctions. And in short, it was a capitulation from the European Union. They basically said, Russia has us checkmated here, so we're going to have to pay for the gas in accordance to the gas for ruble scheme. And what is the gas for ruble scheme? A quick recap. All it's saying, all Gazprom is saying is, look, you're going to open up 2 bank accounts in Gazprom Bank. And this is for unfriendly countries, by the way. So all of the EU, unfriendly countries. What you're going to do is open up 2 bank accounts in Gazprom Bank. The first account, you're going to deposit your foreign currency, dollars, euros, whatever. We don't care. We're going to then take that foreign currency and we're going to exchange it via a special exchange in Moscow that they've set up. And we're going to convert it to rubles. We're going to take those rubles and we're going to deposit them into your second bank account, which is a ruble bank account. And you're going to pay for the gas via that ruble bank account. So Gazprom Bank in Russia, they control the entire flow of money, the entire process and all the transactions. And that's how you're going to pay for gas. Once you pay for that gas in rubles from your second account, from your ruble account, well, then your gas is delivered. It's going to continue to flow. Most EU countries, even the EU Commission, has said, we're going to go along with this. It's okay to go along with this. It doesn't violate our sanctions rules. That's what the European Commission said. It was a capitulation from the EU. The EU got checkmated there. Poland, though, stood its ground, and they said, we don't care. We're not going to pay. We're not going to pay with this scheme. We're not going to do it. And so did Bulgaria, it seems. And so Poland wanted to call Russia's bluff, or at least they thought they're going to call Russia's bluff, and Russia wasn't bluffing. That's just the bottom line. So on April 27th, today, they sent out a notice and said, okay, you're not paying for your gas via our payment system, our gas for rubles system, so your gas is going to be shut off. If you don't pay your internet bill, your internet gets cut off. Same thing. And, your internet provider will tell you, you can pay for your internet via online, credit card, or come to our shop and pay for it at our store, whatever. But here are the methods of payment, and you're going to have to pay via these methods of payment. You just can't sit there and say, well, I don't agree to these methods of payment. I want to pay this way. No, you can't do that. You're gonna pay the way the provider wants you to pay. Otherwise, go find internet somewhere else. Well, Russia is saying the same thing. These are our terms of payment. This is how it's going to be done. If you follow our terms, you're going to get your gas. If you don't, find gas elsewhere. And so that's what Poland is going to have to do now. They're going to have to find gas elsewhere. So the collective West is saying this is blackmail, this is retaliation. We can't believe what Russia is doing. They're outraged by all of this. They're completely outraged. They're clutching their pearls. Oh my God, Russia is so evil. Putin is so evil. The evil genius is using gas as a weapon. Meanwhile, they're pouring in artillery and tanks, and they're trying to get all these weapons into Ukraine in order to destroy Russia and to get some sort of regime change. I mean, they are parties to the war. They're indirect parties to the war. That's That's what's going on. And this is a war between Russia and NATO, Russia and the United States, and Ukraine is just simply the location and the proxy that's being used to wage this war. But Anna Moskva, the climate minister, I guess energy minister as well, she said this. She said, "There are no worries about shortages of gas in our homes. It is worth pointing out that liquefied natural gas alone supplies this market sufficiently. LNG deliveries in terminals like Swinoujście are growing. In 2015, there was one. In 2021, it was already at 35%. As of today, it provides for about 50% of the deliveries. I'm not sure with the quote there, 50 deliveries. Anyway, she said, appropriate diversification strategies that we have introduced allow us to feel on the safe side in this situation." So that's what the Polish climate minister said. No worries. Keep calm. Everything is under control. Yeah, they say keep calm now while we're entering spring, summer, the weather's going to heat up, but come autumn, if they don't solve this, which they won't solve it, come autumn, things are going to get pretty ugly, because it's not only the homes that have to get heated up, it's the businesses and the industry and production and all of these things that are going to need that gas. So it's all well and good in the beginnings of summer, but give it 3-4 months and we'll see if Miss Anna Moskva is singing the same tune. But Poland is not in as bad a position as, say, Bulgaria. I mean, Bulgaria's in a bad position. 90% of their gas is coming via Turk Stream. And so I don't know what the hell Bulgaria is going to do. And Bulgaria is an interesting case because, you know, Bulgaria would have been considered a friendly country to Russia once upon a time. You know, very similar language, two Orthodox countries. I mean, they didn't really have bad relations at all. They were actually very friendly relations. But let me cross the street here. Let's not get hit by that car. Jeez. The things I do to get a shortcut as I walk. But Bulgaria was not like a belligerent country to Russia in the past, but for some reason they've really gone out of their way to support Zelensky and to get involved in this conflict in Ukraine. Very odd behavior from Bulgaria, but look, I think it's the same story. If you pay for your gas with our gas for rubles scheme, no problem, you're going to get your gas. If not, well, then you're not going to get your gas. Now, saying all of this, I think that in 3, 4, 5 months, what the Russians are going to do vis-a-vis Germany, say, and all of Europe, is they're just going to let their long-term contracts wind down and they're not going to renew them. So they're going to, so what I think is going to happen with Germany, and I think a lot of this is kind of a warning to Germany and the EU. It's kind of like, look, we're not bluffing, but I think what Russia is going to do and what Gazprom is going to let happen is that as the long-term energy contracts wind down, say in 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, Gazprom's just not going to do business with Germany. They're just not going to renew those contracts. And what they're going to do is they're just going to divert their gas to other markets, specifically Asia, the East, and China. So that's what I think is going to happen, say, medium term. Short term right now, it's real simple. Give us rubles, give us your reserve currency, let us exchange that reserve currency for rubles, pay for rubles, and you're good to go. So yeah, this is not a retaliation. I just think it's a simple case of Poland and Bulgaria digging their heels in and saying, we're not going to abide by your payment terms. So that is the story with regards to the gas for rubles payments. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Poland or Bulgaria quietly agrees to the gas for rubles payment scheme. I have a feeling Bulgaria will will start depositing their foreign currencies in Gazprom Bank and open up that second rubles account very, very quickly. We'll monitor the story. So the second big story that I want to talk about is the fact that the Russian military is starting to take out railway substations, traction substations, the substations that provide or that convert a lot of the voltage for the railway system so that the railway system can operate. So what the Russian Ministry of Defense did is they took out 6 to 7. I'm seeing some reports which say 6, others are saying 7. They took out 7 of these traction substations, basically meaning that the electric railway system in Ukraine, which is going to be delivering all of this heavy artillery that the U.S. and Poland and the U.K. and Germany are going to be providing Ukraine. These trains are not going to be able to function, and all of these substations were located in the center and west of Ukraine, and the Russian military just took them all out. They took them all out, and it's going to take a really, really long time to repair these substations. And I'm certain that once they are repaired, well, then Russia is going to take them out again. And sure, Ukraine can maybe use the diesel railway system. I don't know how developed that is, but then you have to get into the whole logistics of getting the diesel gas, which Ukraine doesn't have, and they're gonna have to get that, I think, from like Slovakia, or it's just a big mess. Basically, long story short, is the Russians just got sick of all of these this transportation from west to east with whatever military equipment was being put on these trains, and they said enough's enough. We're just going to take out these substations, and we're just going to completely neutralize Ukraine's railway system. This also means that a lot of people are going to suffer, like everyday people in Ukraine are going to suffer, because you use the railway systems to transport fuel and food and other supplies, as well as just using the railway system to go from one place to another. So all of this, all of the logistics as far as transporting everyday things that you need to live, all of these things are now going to come to a stop. It also shows that 60 days into the war, Russia refused to take out these substations, and they refused to target the transportation infrastructure in Ukraine. And once again, it shows that Russia was not interested in destroying Ukraine's infrastructure. It once again, it further confirms the analysis that we were talking about at the Duran for a while, which is that Russia wanted to capture Ukraine. They didn't want to destroy Ukraine. They wanted to capture it with as little destruction to the infrastructure and to the civilian population as was possible. So 60 days into this war, you finally get the Russian military actually going after the infrastructure in Ukraine, which is something that most countries, if they undertook this type of military operation, this is something that they would have done on day one, is to destroy the transportation links. So that is big news, and it's going to be and it's terrible news for civilians and for people in Ukraine. As I said, food and medicine and water and fuel and all of these things that people need to live, well, that's going to come to a stop. But it also means that heavy artillery and all the tanks and weapons that the U.S. is so giddy on getting to the front lines in the east, well, that's going to stop as well. They're going to have to find alternative methods, and without diesel fuel, the West doesn't have any alternative methods. So it also shows that the West really doesn't care about the well-being of the Ukrainian people, doesn't it? Because if they really cared about the well-being of the people of Ukraine, they would have realized that Russia doesn't want to destroy Ukraine's infrastructure. So let's not do anything that will goad Russia into destroying that infrastructure. But instead, what the collective West said is, let's continue to goad Russia into taking action against that infrastructure by putting weapons on those trains and moving those weapons to the east, even though, for all practical reasons, those weapons aren't going to make a difference in the war. But you see, the collective West didn't care. Their goal was to make the people of Ukraine suffer. Their goal is to say, let's escalate to the point where Russia has to destroy Ukraine. They have to go after their infrastructure. We want Russia to demolish this country, because I think much of the collective West, the neocons, are saying, you know what, we can't win the war, so we might as well destroy the country and just plunge it into chaos. And so, yeah, I think it shows that the collective West really didn't give a damn about the well-being of the people. That's what's going on there. And the final story that I want to get to is the fact that there's a lot of talk after what happened in Moldova. Oh, by the way, there was another bombing of a fuel depot or an ammunition depot in Belgorod. So once again, we're seeing these incursions into Russian territory that's right on the border with Ukraine, and we're seeing these sabotage incursion strikes on Russian fuel depots, on ammunition depots, on stuff like this. So Russia's going to, once again, they're going to escalate. They're going to tick up the escalation one more level, because this is all that Ukraine seems to have at the moment, are these kind of rogue sabotage strikes on these border towns between Russia and Ukraine. But, you know, Russia has sent their warning. They said, when you strike anything on our territory, well, we reserve the right to hit back, and that includes the decision-making centers in Kiev. So expect some big retaliation in the next coming days. Maybe even some strikes in Kiev or Lviv from the Russian military. The final story that I want to get to, which is kind of related to this breaking news, is the fact that we're hearing a lot of speculation, I guess, a lot of talk, a lot of chatter with regards to what's going on in Transnistria, Moldova, and what's going on with some sort of liberation force being assembled. So the Zelensky regime has one last Hail Mary opportunity, and that is to try and create some sort of second front in Transnistria. And there are reports that Romanian soldiers in Moldovan uniform, masquerading as Moldovan soldiers, are preparing some sort of offensive in Transnistria. There are reports that there are a lot of Ukraine troops amassed on the border between Transnistria and Ukraine. I can't confirm that. I don't know if that's true. But we're hearing about this second front, and at the same time, we're hearing about Poland perhaps creating some sort of liberation force to enter the west of Ukraine. And so I can't confirm a lot of this, but I think that as the days pass and we see the disintegration and the annihilation of the Ukraine military, specifically in the east of Ukraine, and it's happening. I mean, the reports that I'm getting out of the east of Ukraine are that the Ukraine military is just being ground down to a horrific level, and that the Russian military is taking in POWs, and the prisoners that they're taking are, I mean, you know, you look at the photos and it doesn't take a military expert to see that these guys aren't professional soldiers. I mean, it's just, this is not a professional army anymore that the Ukraine regime, that the Zelensky regime is throwing in the east to fight the Russians. So the situation is very, very bad for Zelensky in the Donbass. But as each day passes and we're getting more and more reports that the Ukraine army in the east is ready to collapse, we're seeing more and more talk about a Polish liberation force, a second front in Moldova and Transnistria. So we need to keep an eye on this. We definitely need to keep an eye on what's going on with this. I wouldn't be surprised if Poland or Romania, I don't know if Romania would make a move, but definitely I would not be surprised if Poland and the United States just decide to go for it and say, you know what, we're going to enter the west of Ukraine. Let's go for it. It would not shock me. I've reported on this about 2 weeks ago. I talked about this 2-3 weeks ago. I've been saying that there are rumblings and grumblings about Poland perhaps moving into the west. I think it could happen. It could happen. I'm not saying it will, but I think it's a possibility. The more desperate and panicked they become, the more possible some sort of incursion in the west could occur. Or definitely a second front in Moldova is a possibility. So let's monitor what's going on there. Finally, everybody, let's get to a clown world. And for this clown world, we're going to talk about Italy. And it's a story from Summit News, which says that Italy is going to start rationing energy to support Ukraine. And Italy is coming up with a plan, which is called Operation Thermostat. And what Italy is going to do is that they are going to tell the Italians to lower their energy needs and their energy consumption in order to stick it to Putin. Operation Thermostat, according to Mario Draghi. Mario Draghi, the Goldman Sachs banker, turned leader of Italy without having to go through any sort of election. He was just kind of installed into the position. So from next month onwards, Italy will begin rationing electricity to support Ukraine. With, yes?
I watch you all the time.
Ah, how are you?
I can't believe I just see you in front of me.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for what you do.
Oh, thank you.
I take care of you.
Thank you for watching.
Christos Anesti.
Christos Anesti.
Oh.
You're going to be on the video, you don't mind. Not you, just your voice. Okay. Bye-bye. So the statement said, from next month onwards, Italy will begin rationing electricity to support Ukraine, with public buildings banned from running air conditioning at lower than 25 degrees or heating higher than 19 degrees. Cloud world, everybody. Italy is going to ban public buildings from running air conditioning lower than 25 degrees in the summer. I don't know, I think Italy, especially the south of Italy, can get pretty hot in the summertime. The plan is being dubbed Operation Thermostat and is being hailed as an example for Italians to follow in their own private homes. Okay. So the government is saying we're going to do this at public buildings, and we encourage all the Italians to do the same in their private homes. Mario Draghi promoted the campaign by asking, do we want to have peace or do we want to have the air conditioning on? Oh my God, no mas. I can't take it anymore. The clown world gets crazier every single day. The Prime Minister of Italy actually said, do we want to have peace or do we want to have the air conditioning on? Anyway, everybody, that's clown world. That's coming from a Prime Minister of Italy, that statement. Oh boy. All right, I'll leave the video there. Check out Alexander's channel. Check out the Duran channel, where we are putting up videos and live streaming all the time. Alexander's channel, of course, is doing the best deep dive analysis as to what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, as well as all over the world. And the Duran.locals.com. I will leave the video there. Take care.